Hail to everyone, and good evening. I'm Michael with Diamond Seed Astrology, and this is a quick video that is going to introduce everybody to my new book, which is Venus in Virgo, Archetypes of Goddess Consciousness in Astrology is the subtitle. So it's been a bit of a while since I've made a video. Let me get this so you can actually see it. It has absolutely glorious and gorgeous artwork by Pam Schneider, who is my partner, and you'll find it's just loaded with great computer-aided illustrations. These are a bunch of them right here. So the book is I have to say, as far as I know, this is a unique work. It is an attempt to ground astrology back into what I call a typological year, an idealized year that is the zodiac. As we know, there's sidereal astrology and there's tropical astrology, and sidereal astrology pegs our signs to the constellations, and there's definitely value to that. Under certain metaphorical circumstances, but my my astrology is very much pegged to the year, and I basically go from the very beginning. I'm trying to get back to the most fundamental and simple interpretations, and those interpretations are all very pagan and pantheistic, and reflect a dialectical monism that I believe is indispensable to astrology. There is something very much like the Taoist cosmology going on in astrology, where you have one sort of generative feminine void force that's behind everything, which is Gaia, and Gaia gives birth to Uranus, which is all masculinity. Then you have your yin and yang. You have your two, the masculine and feminine forces, which are the generative conflict from which all of creation arises. And the ultimate mystery of behind astrology is what is that? How is anything created? How and why is anything created? We can pretend that we know about it because we know some things about genetics now. We can clone things, but those things that we clone themselves cannot reproduce. So we're at a standstill here in terms of understanding why and how things actually can procreate, and that may sound hubristic compared, when you listen to the scientism that's prevalent today, where allegedly we know everything because we know things that we can sequence a genome. No, we don't know everything. We can't do very much at this point. We're toddlers in the dark. So Venus in Virgo gets into this question of what is behind all this, and the book gets into the goddess Venus. And because we're talking about Venus in Virgo, where Venus falls, Venus has her fall there, her depression. The book gets into a lot of examination of what the sign Virgo means, and if you're going to look at any sign, you have to look at its ruler. So the book spends a lot of time talking about Mercury / Hermes, and what his actual archetypal meaning is, and what his actual function is within the year, and Venus's function, the dignity scheme, the rulership scheme within the zodiac tells us everything that we need to know about these archetypes. And the archetypes are defined completely by their relationship to the great goddess, to this generative force, the creation itself. So these are all dealt with in the book. There's a section on a comparison between the relationship between Mercury and Aphrodite or Venus in the Greek tradition and that of Odin and Freya in the Norse tradition, to try and get some perspective on that, because these are they're correlates. And if we want to understand how an archetype works, because archetypes are universal. You know, this to go to, you know, like a something like you know, Socrates. It's one of these very pagan, ancient ideas. The archetypes are emissions of the very pure energy that's behind creation, and they are basically it's as if, you know, you're talking about a rainbow. You know, each archetype is a certain frequency of light. They vibrate at a certain frequency, and that is the signs are basically receptive to these frequencies at which these archetypes vibrate. So that is what grants them their rulership. It is we have a lot of metaphors in astrology for what that means. We have political metaphors that, you know, give the ruler of the sign something like a you know, kingship or queenship, but that's far too simplistic. We need to get back to something actually more fundamental, which is again, this: what is the relationship to the year? How do they move the year forward? How do they influence the human consciousness to be a active and responsible and functional part of the idealized year. So again, this is Venus in Virgo. That's a lot more than I wanted to say about it, but there you go. This is it's a really cool book. I do hope people will check it out. It's astrology is very, very old, and it's part of my thesis that at the time of you know, when we have all these Hellenistic texts from, you know, 2000 to, you know, maybe 800 years ago, when that's beyond the Hellenistic period. But we have a lot of texts going back a long way that talk about astrology, but it's my thesis that they really they were already missing a lot of the fundamental ideas because of the movement of the paradigm of thought towards a monotheistic, towards a philosophical landscape that valued ideas of salvation and apocalypse and these other Gnostic ideas that I believe don't really fit in astrology quite and I believe that incompatibility between the philosophies that really are behind astrology and the ones that we have been laboring under for the last, you know, couple of millennia don't fit well together. So it's a basic paradigmatic mismatch, and if we really try and get back into some, you know, hermetic ideas of what masculinity is, what femininity is, we are going to get a much, much, much clearer picture of what astrology was trying to get at. It's really a theology, and it's really very basic. And there you go.